Talk a little bit about what you found out about Kentucky the last time.
Very physical. We did not have them prepared for the physicality. First SEC game out. Thought we did. I was wrong. They very physically, defensively, offensively, they got to where they just started asserting their athleticism and driving it at the basket when Merriam got in foul trouble. So short answer, physicality. Secondly, that they are very good at identifying your weakness and going at it until you fix it, which I think we have fixed since then. So hopefully it'll be something different. I said it pregame last time, and I even further will state it this time. I think Asia Petty's maturation, how much hard work she put into the offseason, has got to have her in the conversation for them. We don't have the award, but, did the most with their summer. I hate calling it most improved. I always got that award at camps. I think I told y'all, and I always made me feel bad. I think she should get an award for most dedicated, most time well spent during the offseason, because she has really become an impact player in our league. Her numbers speak for it. So I think between being prepared for their physicality and knowing that they're going to attack our weaknesses, I kind of like the short turnaround. Usually in the past when we play somebody so closely together, I haven't really liked it, but I'm kind of glad that we're only 4 or 5 games apart from playing each other.
Speaking of short turnaround, obviously nobody wants to lose like y'all did Sunday, but is it easier to move past that than it is, say, a close loss?
Yes.
Heartbreaking.
Much easier. It's easier to flush it, and you don't woulda, coulda, shoulda, beat yourself up over one single play. It doesn't make it more beneficial to get thrashed rather than lose closely, but it is easier to move on. You don't nitpick as many things. The pictures are broader. And again, we're playing the defending national champion on the road. So I think, I'm not making excuses, but it's easier to rationalize and justify a little bit when you're playing somebody that good that at their place coming off of a loss a few games ago. So, you get down to it. Offensively, we had more points per possession than we did against Alabama the game before. So there's some good, there's some bad to find from it, but it is emotionally easier to move along and get focused. It was the end of one of our stages that I've been talking to y'all about. That completed a stage, and we're kind of starting what we're calling stage 5 right now. This next 6 games, very important stage for us. And I think we did turn the page very quickly, got refocused on what's ahead and not as much on what's behind.
And I believe it's my turn to ask about Talia.
She will return to activity today. And we hope that this is that ramp up period when you're out for a period of time. You don't ever want to bring anybody, especially a freshman, back too fast. But she will be in activity today. Got that word early this morning, and we're excited about that. If you followed Sunday, y'all know Saylor was very limited. She didn't practice into our 2 lead-up games prior to LSU, and I limited her minutes after the margin got plus 25. If we would have got it inside of 20, I probably would have brought her back in, but we never could get over that hump in the second half. We got it to 18, I think, one time, and they went down and scored. So as long as it was 20, I was going to rest Saylor so that we could have her max minutes the rest of the way out. She is going to be kind of dealing with a day-to-day issue that's going to limit her practice ability, but we're going to try to maximize her game ability. So we get one back. And also, too, I think it's worth noting, because I do think she would have played on Sunday, Franklin is off chasing and fulfilling a lifelong dream of trying with her draft, the team that drafted her. So she's not with us right now. So I've been saying all along, I'm always this even Steven guy, but Phoenix will also be able to be cleared for practice today. Our incoming 2024, that'll be gray shirting. She's gone through all of her pre-physicals and she's enrolled in class. So we'll lose B for practice. Phoenix will not be eligible to compete, but she is eligible to practice.
All right, I'll turn it over to somebody else.
Meredith? Oh, wait, you're muted.
Sorry, here we go. Hey, Coach.
Hey.
You talked about a second ago just being able to move on from that LSU loss. And this team has done a really great job this season of bouncing back. They haven't had consecutive losses. So How much confidence does that give you going into this Kentucky game, a team that you've already faced, that your girls will be able to just take care of business at home this week?
Yeah, it changes your perspective. The scout's a lot easier because you don't have to try to convince them that Anaya Russell's really fast with the ball, or you don't have to convince them that Asia Petty is going to be very physical. They know that. So we can spend our time on a lot of technical things. I think our bounce back ability is because I've got Mac and Sam in that locker room telling stories of that is life in the SEC for us. It's not that way for Don Staley, and it may not be that way for LSU. But for the rest of us, you learn that in this league. You can't get too high. You can't get too low. Otherwise, 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 3, 3 becomes 4. And that's when you have bad years. I think Mac and Sam are able to tell these kids, this is what you signed up for. This is the league you jumped into. There is not a team in our league that doesn't have a lot. I mean, every team in our league has a win. We're the only conference in the country that can say that. If you get caught up too much in what has happened, this league can eat you up and spit you out. And that's what's different than any other league I've coached in. So Mac and Sam being able to tell these kids, hey, it's one game. Let's learn from it. Let's apply it next. That's a good question and a good observation, but I think that's why our kids are pretty good at it. We've been there. We've had to deal with it to survive.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Evan.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
I can very well.
Awesome. So you talked just a bit ago about entering a new stage of the season. What do you hope that your team accomplishes in this stage?
Well, I hope we clean up about 3 or 4 defensive possessions a game and about 3 or 4 offensive possessions a game, because that's what it's come down to in these tight games. These 6 swing possessions whenever they come up, whether that's a miscommunication on a coverage, whether that's I was a little bit tired and I didn't want to ask to come out, so I tried to play through it and I got whipped off the bounce. I need to come out. I need to raise my hand and say, Coach, you've trusted me to tell you when I'm tired. I'm tired. I need a break. I hope they've learned that they can do that and then go back in the game whenever they choose to, that I'm not going to hold it against them. I hope they've learned the value that the 7th possession is just as valuable as the 77th. I think we have. I think this is the time of the year that starts to kind of seep in on everybody and remind even Mac and Sam the importance of that. I like when we've played somebody for a second time in preparation. I hate it when we play, but I like the preparation of it because we go back and we watch that film and go, look at this. And they see it in preparation, but they also in their back of their minds see it as, wow, I could have done that last game and we might have won. So I think that's a valuable lesson for everybody to learn, that you can't do anything about it now, but you can take it and let it kick you forward. Let that mistake in the ball screen coverage, or I should have told Coach I was tired rather than resting on defense. I should have told him I was tired and let somebody fresh get in there. I think because of Carly Keats and Carly Johnson's extra minutes and even Jenna, I think we've developed a little bit of confidence in teammates that, if Mac is tired, she might can say, hey, I'm going to set this one out. Carly Johnson's got my back for 2 minutes. So I hope that's what we've learned going into this, because we'll need it. It's, a 6-game span. I think we have 3 at home and 3 on the road. That could really define, what happens at the end of the season.
Yeah, and Coach, you kind of mentioned it right there about Carly Keats, because the last time you played Kentucky, your guards did a really good job shutting down Maddie Schur, with Keats having 10 and Spencer obviously 25. What do you hope to see again this time, and what did you learn from shutting down Schur and the Kentucky guards last time?
Well, Matt guarded her the majority of the game, and I do not have any idea how Matt held her without a shot. I mean, that's not a made shot, a shot, a field goal attempt. I know she was in a little bit of foul trouble. She was tended. We don't anticipate that happening, but that was the game that Keats kind of got going, got a little confidence, and has carried it. I think we need all of those kids to guard Maddie Shear. We need all of our kids to guard Asia Petty, and then Jenkins came in and Tyler came in and hurt us at spots. So I think it's going to take all 4 of our guards and the 3 bigs in that rotation too to guard somebody like Maddie. You can't just do it with one person. You got to help on the screen. You got to be there in the space and make her see your vision. So I hope we can do the same job. Of course, not necessarily expecting the same results, but make her life hard again. Because I do think when she's very good, they're very good.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Anyone else? Great. Oh, Ethan. Hey.
Yeah. Sorry I'm late on here. And
It's all right.
if somebody already asked this, my complete apologies, but you've been pleased this year with the team's ability to bounce back
Yep.
after losses. Just what have you seen? I guess I know it's only been a day since y'all been together after the LSU loss, but what have you seen, I guess, so far? I know it was kind of the biggest y'all have lost all year, so it could be tough to maybe get down.
It starts on the bus, though, Ethan. It starts in the locker room. It starts on the bench at the end of the game. I will tell you this, like, our group's self-awareness is sometimes our greatest strength and our greatest weakness too. But the margin sometimes, like, we continue to play fast. The margin will get away from people in our games because we don't try to slow it down when we sub. We don't try to hold the ball. We don't try to do that. We competed for 30 minutes of that game. The first 8, not so much. There was a middle 2 that we didn't. But for 30 minutes of that game, it's pretty even. So I think our group is very good at drawing upon that. And even though the score gets away, that's an attaboy to LSU. And they were on fire and they made some shots and rebounded and the crowd was amazing, all those factors. I do think our group compartmentalizes, moves past losses and moves away from victory very quickly. I think, and we were talking about it a little bit earlier. If you were like me, you had to probably re-update Zoom. But like, because we've had to do it, Ethan, in the last 4 years to survive in this league, Mac and Sam can tell these other kids about it. Hey, you're going to get beat 30 in this league. You sign up for this league, you're going to be playing the defending national champions, probably, or a Final Four team or whatever. You're going to have nights you're going to beat. You got to move past it. And you can't let LSU beat us twice. You know, you can't let what happened at LSU hurt us against Kentucky. I think they tell that story in the locker room. I think they tell it on the bus. I think they tell these kids in, you know, whether it's Keats or Merriam in a new role, whatever. I think they tell that story way better than we do as coaches. And they're going to listen to Mac and Sam and Saylor more than they listen to us anyway. That's a good thing. So I think they do a great job of telling that, and you can't get your head down. Otherwise, if you do get down and you waller in it or you listen to too many of the wrong people, then all of a sudden now you could lose a game that you shouldn't.
Yeah, and then last thing I wanted to ask, I mean, you mentioned her, Sam. She's just really stepped up for y'all since league play started, really. I know she had 7 assists the other night, too. Kind of went unnoticed. But
Yeah.
what do you think about just what's it about her that lets her, you know, kind of step up whenever it seems like the spotlight gets a little bit bigger?
The spotlight doesn't change for her. That's a kid that treats every game the same. And as a result of that, when the spotlight does come on, she doesn't have to feel different. Like, she doesn't know the difference between 13,000 and 1,300. She really doesn't. She's not afraid of the moment. She accepts that opportunity, the responsibility. When I call an action that's going to require her to drive it at the basket, her eyes light up. You know, it's not like, oh no, I have to perform. She's built for that. I think that speaks to her, just kind of the way she approaches life. Like, this is an opportunity, not a challenge. So I think as the games get bigger, I think as the spotlight gets brighter, it kind of stays the same for her, because it doesn't feel that way to her. Her 7 assists against them is hard to do because they are so good at help defense. But when she's driving it like she has been all the way through league play, she commands a second defender, you know, and she's starting to make the right reads. And then we finished a few shots behind her, Marion hitting a couple of those threes. I think 4 of her assists were to Marion, you know, driving it and drawing Reese away and finding her on the arc for a shot. So that was 4 of them. Then she had a couple of dump passes too, you know. Us making the shot at the end of those is big, but I think it's because she views every single moment like it's the spotlight, you know, and that's a cool place to live. I don't understand it because I don't live. I can't identify with that, because that's a confidence that she's developed and has. And I mean, I think it's what allows her to compete in this league against the people she has to compete against, night in, night out.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Anyone else? Perfect. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.